Continuing our tour across all of the show gardens here at the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show, and I've got Matt York here from Buddling Design. He's going to take us through your particular show garden. So thanks for taking the time. Now,
Pleasure.
let's wander.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Through the Lens is a garden that celebrates neurodiversity, and the idea of this was to look at the responsibility of garden design and landscape to start understanding a broader lens across our community. And so in particular, we started looking at the sensory processing challenges around autism.
Yep.
My youngest, Ollie, is autistic, and so he has created this unbelievable opportunity to look at how to understand the role parks and gardens can play for a broader audience.
Yeah, how they're perceived by him.
Yeah. And I suppose the intent of Through the Lens wasn't to create a garden just for autism or to celebrate that, but more to celebrate a garden for everyone that had a broader understanding of different sensory challenges and opportunities to look at the different tactile nature of plant design, inclusive play, and even down to the area here, which is our little stimming stage. So the idea for this part of the garden was to start to look at stimming, which is a calming, repetitive action that many children undertake, and start to look at how we can highlight that as something that we can think about in garden design and designing with landscapes. So stimming is a calming or a repetitive component of self-regulation, quite often done through rocking, hence the rocking chairs. So what we wanted to do with Through the Lens was really take some subtleties and use this garden in part about education, but also to provide some sensory refuge as well. You would have seen during the week, the garden show has been unbelievably busy. It's been incredible.
Yeah, it's great.
So we've found people actually coming through here and using the area at the back and the inclusive play element as a bit of a refuge to have a break and take calm. So
well, let's wander through, and that looking to plant wise, I mean, you've got some quite vivid, bold colours in the colliers and things popping through, and hue and the like. So
absolutely. Yeah, so the idea here was to start primarily working with red, greens and blues. So RGBs, the colours that form light, and then start to find little pockets of discovery so that as you walked through the garden, and our garden is an accessible garden, that you would be able to find discovery and walk through, and against the eucalyptus woodwardii, then find, wow, impatiens against lavender. So we started to challenge some traditional methods of planting design and focus more around tactile and sensory layers, and that was the key, particularly for this zone here, whereby you can be sitting in here, you might enjoy the touch and the sensation of the sedums.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then of course we've got the rosemary, so
woolly bush I can see in the back through there.
Absolutely, and then the smell of the backhousias as well. So the idea has been to bring the five senses together and then really in a subtle manner allow people to come and investigate, touch, smell, feel, and then find little pockets. There's even basil through here and parsley, so
string of bananas down the front.
Yeah, we've got the bananas. So there's all sorts of pieces, and that was the idea, that people would find moments in this design. If they needed refuge from the show, just to take five, may it be a calming element, they could come and do that. And so Through the Lens really looked at the ideas of the responsibility of garden design to start to think more broadly about the needs of our whole community, and also to go, what else could we do to make our gardens more approachable, and also use this as an education piece, just to get the story out there.
You've done the right thing, coming out to an event like this, lots of people coming through. It's perfect.
Been incredible.
Yeah, and feedback from visitors. I mean, I'm sure you've been chatting.
It's been amazing. And I think what's been amazing too is that we've still allowed something to create something beautiful and something vibrant, and that's been really important, so that people could still come through. They could go, we love Eucalyptus polyanthemus, we haven't seen it like this. We didn't realise you could partner that with these different layers of planting, mixing native and exotics with succulents. And the best piece has been, well, the way we approached that was again back to those layers of tactile nature of things, like looking at different touches. And so rather than perhaps only partnering natives with natives, or
Yep.
we've probably broken that apart a little
Give it
bit.
more of a discovery feel and make
exactly.
it dynamic in that side of sense. And speaking of, the play space through here.
Yeah,
again,
I
looking
can
at
talk to this.
Come and have a come and tell us a little bit about this area.
Yeah, so the idea here was that we do have the 5 sensory perceptions, and there is another 2, particularly in therapy through autism, and being vestibular and proprioception, which really talks to balance, muscle memory, posture, and how you move and walk and establish your muscles in terms of walking or climbing or movement primarily. Yep. So what we wanted to do here was to create an inclusive play element that celebrated those 2 pieces within a garden design. And we wanted to also do that in a manner that we could then repurpose this piece after the show.
Yeah.
So you can see that this structure is quite modular. It's actually built out of a recycled skip. And
is that?
yeah,
wow.
which you can't tell.
No.
So we take these 2 pieces. We worked with Skiplet, and these pieces have been clad and redesigned with forklift tubes. So these will be taken directly from the garden onto the truck on Monday, and they're going to be repurposed in an additional needs school.
And in terms of like its play space, it's a lot more aesthetically interesting than the monkey bars across the top. And
Absolutely,
all that. It's got heaps going on, So
and it's been incredible to see how people and children have appropriated it during the week.
Yeah,
we've used the Banksia cones as a memory game. There's a climbing element. There's a balance beam, and just those real subtleties. And then you get to the end, and there's the texture maps as well through the different planting. So it's I suppose we've tried to bring a lot of layers of information, but presented in a really subtle, friendly, happy,
but a story that people
way.
could apply then in their own spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what we've done as well is brought in some, I suppose, little quotes and little pops of information. Again, not over the top, nothing that's been too informative, but still subtle and friendly.
Yeah.
Just to say things like we have. We all have a sensory profile to enjoy, which I think is incredibly important, and that really starts to set up the basis of this garden design. So,
that's
yeah.
Great. Well, I think you've done a great thing in terms of showcasing it in a physical context here at the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show. So, thank you for taking the time for showing us through.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.